All right, we'll call this meeting of Sheriff County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we will conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear all the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet on the table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each application is as follows. After each application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak, as well as anyone objecting will also have a chance to speak. I will not ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone up at the stand up here. State their name and direct their comments to the committee. Because of the number of applicants tonight, I am asking that all testimony be kept brief and to the point. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present information on their application other than questions from the committee. Anyone else wishing to speak should limit their testimony to 3 minutes, and any rebuttal by the applicant will also be limited to 3 minutes. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at the properties, are going to provide with photos, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my left, Bart Peterson. In back, Pat King, Dave Bossard. I'm Robert Wadle, the chairman, Todd Waller, zoning administrator, and Becky Hubach, acting secretary. First application.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Nutchells. Amanda.
Application, Amanda. Right here.
Yep, right here.
Okay. Amanda Mitchell and Travis Grimshield, Matoma, Wisconsin, have made an application for a conditional use in accordance with section 58-454, paragraph 31, and 58-236, paragraph 10 of the Waushara County zoning code to place a used 1980 two-bedroom, 14 by 56 mobile home and a future attached deck in the EG10 general ag zone. Location: a 19-acre parcel of land being part of Lot 1, CSM 6430, Section 05, Town 19 North, Range 10 East, Town of Watoma, address N4543, State Road 73. Is the applicant here? You want to come up and tell us what you're...
We're just trying to, my father right now lives in Green Lake, and we're the only family he's got. So we're trying to get him now that he's in retirement closer to us, and he owns the mobile home. So we're just trying to get him close to family.
Do you know where the property lines are?
Yes, we are working with Trent right now at TM and the adjoining neighbor, Anthony Monty. We're going to be purchasing 1.53 acres, I believe it is, to get us at the 20 acres for 2 10-acre lots.
You talked to the town about doing this township?
No, we have not yet.
Um, the, do you have sanitary, do you have a, septic system out there?
We're gonna be putting one in. The septic is gonna be by Handel and Golke. The well is gonna be by Wells by Welch. Handel's already got a permit for it, so we're just waiting for everything to fall into place, and then we're gonna get everyone scheduled.
Other question I had was, I noticed that it looked like it was a flat roof mobile home,
It's the rounded roof.
rounded
Yeah.
roof.
The roof is only 10 years old, rubber roof.
Okay.
Other questions from the committee? If not, see,
Thank you.
Do you want me to read the correspondence?
yeah, any correspondence?
Yes. We did receive a letter today, handwritten letter today from a neighbor. I'm going to read that. It's from Richard and Kathy Wadowski, address W9176 Beechnut Avenue in Watoma. The letter states, we object to the issuance of a conditional use permit being given to allow a placement of said 1980 used mobile home on the property. We ask that the request be denied. Thank you, Richard Wadowski. As far as applicants registered to speak, we have nobody to speak in favor, against, or informational.
Okay, staff comments?
Okay, everyone should have a copy of the final report before you. Quickly, just a summary of the request. The applicants, Amanda Nutchell and Travis Sheed, owners of the property, are requesting a conditional use to place a used 14 by 56 mobile home and a future deck in an AG 10 general agricultural 10-acre minimum zone in the town of Watoma. Subject property is part of actually part of a larger parcel, which is right now in the process of being split. The owner did have to go back adjacent to meet with an adjacent landowner and acquire some additional land because the existing parcel was only about plus or minus 19 acres. Staff is right now in the process of reviewing a CSM for the land split. However, we're working with the state. There's some right-of-way issues. I don't think it's going to affect the CSM at all, but we are in the process of reviewing the CSM to properly split the property. Staff recently visited the property to document the site and its surroundings by way of photos. You should have a copy of all those before you. Attached are photos of the existing entrance drive, the mobile home pad location, and views taken in each direction. As evidenced by the photos, the site is quite visible from State Highway 21, but does have plenty of room for placement of a home and a respective sanitary system. Staff has reviewed this request and similar to other used mobile homes that have come before the Planning and Zoning Committee. We pose no objection to the relocation and reuse as long as the home is maintained and updated in a neat, orderly, and like new condition. Based upon recently taken photos, the site does have plenty of room for placement of a home and a sanitary system while maintaining all the required setbacks. Staff did note one item which is placed as a condition of approval, should it receive approval, is that based upon the pictures that you have before you of the mobile home, it appears that there are some small holes in various sections of the skirting. We will ask that at the time of land use permit and building permit that those sections be replaced so that, you know, the home will give the appearance of a like new condition and meet the intent behind the code. Staff is recommending approval of the conditional use as subject to those conditions that are listed in the report you have before you.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add or comment on? Next one we will consider tonight, David Kowalski. I didn't kill that.
It's not me, but that's
Schofield, Wisconsin has made an application for conditional use in accordance with section 58-236, paragraph 17, and 58-454, paragraph 27 of the Washera County zoning code to store a 2023 Coleman Lake trailer, 20-foot travel trailer in the AG General Ag Zone. Location, a 10-acre parcel of land known as Lot 1, CSM 6923, Section 21, Town 18 North, Range 8 East, Town of Coloma. Address W13510, State Road 21. You state your name.
Yes, my name is Ian Colby. I'm here on behalf of David Kowalski. David gives his apologies, but he's actually on his 50th wedding anniversary right now, so he's traveling. I figured I would show up and talk on his behalf. Sorry, I have notes and it's going away really quickly. So, like you probably said, it's a camping trailer. David and his wife Mary would like to use this property to have basically summer family gatherings with his camping trailer that he already has. He bought the property, he bought the trailer. We would like to have the conditional use permit so he can have these family gatherings. Our intent is to meet all the special conditions that are required for this. So it's not going to be used more than the number of days to meet that definition. I walked the property myself today, and it's heavily forested, so it will not be seen from any adjacent properties, in my view. And then, of course, it'll be removable, kept clean, everything that needs to be necessary so that David is a good neighbor. He's looking forward to spending a lot of time here.
Do you know where the property lines are?
Yes, we actually had to get a new CSM to meet the 10-acre requirements, so we're able, I couldn't spot them with my eyes, but I can look at them on a map.
Have you talked to the town of Colma?
Not the board. We did talk to the secretary clerk because we heard that they had been sent a referral of the application. I talked with her, just kind of going through what their process would be for interacting with the board. She said she would bring it to their attention, and I haven't heard anything negative since.
Okay, has applicant talked to the neighbors? If there's any objections or concerns?
No objections or concerns raised. I'm very gracious to the neighbor to the east, Mr. Brown, because he actually gave us some of the property that we needed to meet the 10-acre requirement.
Do you have any questions?
I noticed in our packet, there was a proposed portable chemical sanitary facility.
Yep.
Where do they intend to put that?
So to answer that question, I believe we don't need that anymore. We contacted staff and we believe that the facilities within the trailer itself were okay.
Actually, no, you'll have to use the chemical toilet.
Okay.
Yeah, is required. Problem with that is that a lot of people, they're not going to readily up and move their trailer to a proper facility to drain it. And what happens is a lot of times people put their gray water, black water, and spread it on the property, and that's why we don't allow you to use the facilities within the actual trailer.
Okay.
So that's why there was an application or whatever, and we'll work with you on the sanitary permit.
Sounds good. It'll be near the trailer. Right now, there's an existing building in this clearing where the trailer will be. Again, probably about 100 to 200 feet back from the property line. And then we'll work with staff to make sure it complies with the sanitary permit requirements.
Questions of the committee?
Thank you.
Correspondence?
We have not received any correspondence, so we have nothing on record,
Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
and nobody's registered to speak.
Right, staff comments.
Okay, once again, everyone should have a copy of the final report. Just real quickly, a summary of the request. The applicant, David Kowalski, the owner of the subject property, is requesting a conditional use to store a 2023 Coleman Light travel trailer, 20-foot travel trailer in an AG, and it should be a correction, AG 10, general agricultural zone, 10-acre minimum in the town of Coloma. County maintains very little information on this property, and that's due to the fact it's primarily vacant. There were a couple sheds that were pulled and built, years ago. We did have a sanitary permit on the property that dates back to 1982. However, that was for an old gas toilet. Haven't seen one of those in years. But that gas toilet has since been removed. Kind of contradictory, isn't it? Or ironic. But anyways, the gas toilet has since been removed. And the permits and all of our records have since been closed on that. As the applicant did state, they did go through the process, a CSM process, to legally divide the properties. They did have to acquire some additional lands. However, the 10-acre minimum has been met, and the CSM 6923 has since been recorded. Staff visited the property and documented the lot and its surroundings via photos, and attached are those photos illustrating the entrance drive and directional views in all directions from where the trailer is planned on being placed. As evidenced from the photos, the lot's densely vegetated and completely hidden from view. Staff has reviewed this request and believes that a travel trailer is ideally situated upon the property and will be adequately screened from view and should not negatively impact any surrounding land uses. While the committee will be making a recommendation on this request, staff is recommending approval of the conditional use subject to conditions listed in your report.
What's to add at this time? All right. Agenda, roll call will show 4 members are here, and John is here, obviously. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Pat, second by Bart, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Approval of the minutes,
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
motion by Pat, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bart, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. No unfinished business, new business, action on the public hearing applications. First one, what are your wishes, gentlemen?
Which one, the David?
Amanda Nutshell and Travis Grimshield,
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, would somebody like to read the reasons, reasons for approval?
The requested application, if approved, will be consistent with the spirit and intent of the zoning code and will not be contrary to the public interest because after reviewing the application and considering all related testimony, the application, if approved with conditions, will not harm the public or neighboring land uses. The testimony or the letter in opposition has been considered, but with reasonable conditions, the legitimate issues and concerns will be, there wasn't any, he just was opposed to it.
Proposed to it.
Visibility is good at the driveway location and traffic is slowed here. There are no public safety issues. The proposal matches the lot and available area.
Conditions?
Therefore, the requested application, if approved, the following conditions shall apply. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks and all other codes must be complied with. All permits must be obtained, including land use, building, and sanitary. Adequate parking must be provided. The driveway shall meet all required codes, including fire and access code requirements to provide good visibility and a turnaround area to prevent backing onto the road. The applicant will allow agents of Ashur County access to the property to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. Prior to the issuance of any permits, the applicant shall receive an appropriate CSM splitting the property into the minimum 2 10-acre lots. The color picture shows that the home is well maintained, is relatively good repair given its vintage, and extreme care is taken during the relocation and placement of the used home. Said home would not detract from surrounding land uses. The home must be maintained, updated to a like new condition. Given what appears to be a small hole in a few sections of the home's skirting, the owner shall replace those damaged sections and install new skirting at the time of the land use and building permit. The foundation/basement, water, sewer, and electrical connections must conform with uniform dwelling code requirements.
Right, you've heard the reasons and the conditions. I'll ask for a voice vote. Art,
I approve.
Patrick,
Yes, I approve.
Dave,
I approve.
myself approve. Application is approved. Next one, David Kowalski.
Got it.
Okay, gentlemen, what are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bart, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. All right, I'll read the possible conditions. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing.
Do you want to do the reasons first or just?
Okay, I
Just-
jumped ahead
sorry.
of myself, I'm sorry. The requested application, if approved, will be consistent with the spirit and intent of the county zoning code and will not be contrary to the public interest. Because after reviewing the application and considered testimony, the application, if approved, with conditions, will not harm the public or neighboring land uses. There was no opposition. Visibility is good at the driveway location. There are no public safety issues. The proposal matches the lot and available area. Conditions. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks and all other codes must be complied with. All permits must be obtained, including sanitary. Adequate parking must be provided. The driveway should meet all required codes, including fire and access code requirements to provide for access by emergency vehicles. In addition, a driveway should provide good visibility and a turnaround area to prevent backing onto the road. The applicant will allow agents of Washera County access to the property to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. The trailer must be kept licensed and roadworthy at all times. No additions, attachments, or permanent foundations are allowed. Trailer must be located at least 100 feet from all lot lines. The trailer shall be located so it is not visible from neighboring properties or public road. Trailer must be served by adequate sanitary facilities separate from those provided in the trailer. The zoning office shall annually inspect the trailer to ensure compliance with these conditions. You've heard the conditions and reasons. I will now ask for a voice vote. Dave,
Approve.
Pat,
Approve.
Bart,
I approve.
myself approved. Application is approved. We went through the extensions of land use permits unless there's
Yep.
any new ones.
Nope. We have
Minor changes to previously approved.
none.
Next month's public hearing applications.
We have one conditional use. Or no, a zone change. We have a zone change.
That's it.
Yep.
So far.
Yep.
They have time yet?
Nope, I think
Nope.
the deadline.
yesterday.
Yesterday,
So we just have one.
yes.
So we'll probably go first then next month again.
Probably yes, because they're gonna have two. They're gonna have two, so yes.
You gave us a financial report and data yesterday and permit updates. Anything else? Not, I will ask for motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
By Dave to adjourn, we are adjourned. How's that, sir? Yeah, I'll be there. Now, if you guys would provide refreshments and stick around, we might let you go first next.
No,
No?
you only have one. We got more than one probably.
Well, I just threw it out there. I thought
Yeah,
maybe,
see?
you know, we'd get a free beer or something. So, are we off the mic? Otherwise, you don't.
No.
No.
We're gonna tell you. All right, take care, guys.
Take care, Robert. I'll let you know too on those. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
if I don't answer, just leave a message, I'll try to.
Hey, don't be like me. Pick up your phone. I'm just kidding.
Sometimes I don't hear it, or I don't miss calls, but I will get back to you.
Okay. Orgy.
Evening, everybody. We'll get started. Call this meeting of the Washera County Board of Adjustments in order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the Planning and Zoning Committee. Please remember to keep your comments brief and relative to the matter at hand. The same time limits will apply to testimony, which is 5 minutes for the applicant, outside of committee questions, and 3 minutes for other testimony, including any rebuttal that might be required. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak at this hearing must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator. The board has looked at all the properties and the record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct their monthly business meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the public hearing. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this board has 30 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Waushara County Circuit Court. Information on appeals is available from the Clerk of Court's office and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. And I'll introduce the board. John Shirkanian, Jess Irvin, John Bentz, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald, and George Peterman is in the back. First variance for tonight is Johns Lake Cottage LLC, Madison, Wisconsin, has made application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-903 sub S, sub 1, sub B of the Waushara County zoning code to exceed maintenance and repair of a non-conforming structure due to water setbacks and to come within 28 feet of Bruce Creek with an open deck in an RS 20 residential single-family zone within the shoreline area. Location, a parcel of land known as Lot 1, CSM 6504, Section 32, P19N R11E, Town of Mount Morris, fire number N 2677, Johns Lake Road. Will the applicant please come to the podium and state your name, please, and tell us a little bit what's going on and what you want to do there.
Yeah, my name is Philip Smith. My wife and I own a cottage on Johns Lake, N283377 Johns Lake Road. That cottage is presently being renovated under a separate building permit. Our lot is unusual, as you saw, in that the drainage system for Johns Lake, namely Bruce Creek, runs right through the middle of our lot. In the renovation we're doing, we're removing a very large deck, and that deck sits very close to Bruce Creek, about 10 or 11 feet at its closest point. We're going to replace that or remove it regardless of your decision. What we'd like to do is replace that deck with a smaller porch, which will sit on the lake side of our cottage. It will be in compliance with the distance from the lake, but because the creek runs right through the middle of our property, it will be 28 feet from the edge of the creek, which is much better than the 10 or 11 feet that the former large deck was close to, but it'll still be not within the guidelines of distance from a creek. So it'll be a wood deck. It will replace a concrete stoop. So it will reduce the amount of impermeable surface on the lot. It will be permeable. It will be much smaller than the existing deck. And we're hoping that we get approval for that structure.
Okay, I got some questions for you.
Sure.
And the committee may have some too. When we were there, we saw the survey marker, so you have had a recent survey, correct?
When we first bought the place, 2018.
And so we know where the lot lines are,
Yes.
know where the ordinary high water mark is.
Yeah.
Erosion and stormwater runoff, are we gonna deal with that? Silt barriers, or do we need construction there, or when you rip down the deck?
They already have those in place right now. Yeah.
Footing for the deck, what is that gonna be?
It's this new technique that I've never heard of until recently. They don't use concrete structures. They have these special metal pipes that are shoved into the ground like this and this and this. So it sort of like represents a tree's root system. And then they put some large structure on the top of it that the porch rests on. So they put several of those in place rather than any sort of concrete structure.
So it's not disrupting the water, the soil or anything?
No,
around the lake?
other than the pipes going into the ground.
It's gonna be what, foot up, 2 feet up off the ground, what do you think?
Uh,
Maybe a little more?
yeah, a little more, probably Have 3 feet.
Okay. You're already doing other improvements on the property, we know that, we saw that.
Yeah.
All other setbacks be met?
Yeah, the distance from the lake will be fine. The distance from the property line will be fine.
We're not in the way of the septic system or anything?
Correct. That's toward the front of the property.
Do you have any other options?
Not really. Seems to be our only possible way to have an outside structure that we can sit on.
What are the hardships and unique property limitations which would support your request?
Well, the unique property limitations are obviously the creek that subdivides it into 2 pieces, making it virtually impossible to comply with all the distances from the lake and from the creek and from the property lines. The hardship is, very simply, we have now that we're removing this large deck, we basically have no place to sit, eat outside unless we sit on the grass. So,
It's an unusual shape of the lot too.
yeah, it goes like that toward the lake, right?
Let's see what else. You're already working with zoning on the permits because you've already started with your other projects.
Yeah, that's been approved, right?
And if approval is granted, when would you start building
Um,
the new deck?
I can't say absolutely, but I would guess within the next month.
Tied in with what you're doing.
Yeah. So the first part is rebuilding the part of the cottage that they've torn down and putting in a new concrete and walls and roof. And then after that, other structures like this porch will be built if we're allowed.
Questions?
Do I understand part of your neighbor's garage is on your property?
That was what I was told when they did the survey when we bought the property.
Oh,
It's, slightly on the property. And I spoke to him recently and he's going to tear that down and build another garage away from the property line.
good. Thank you.
And there's all sorts of weird things in this area because people were building stuff back before there were regulations. Yeah, that are quite, for example, our large deck.
We've been at John's Lake before and dig holes in it in the artifacts.
Yeah.
Everything's stopped.
Yeah.
Just questions? John?
No.
George? No. Okay, please have a seat.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
Okay, this afternoon, our office received a letter from the DNR from Dale Resbeck, who's the shoreland specialist. Given the length of the letter, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but we will keep one on file. So if anyone requests a copy of this, we could obviously email that out and or provide a summary. In summary, Mr. Resbeck in that identifies and basically summarizes the applicant's requests, and then also for the board provides the 3 standards of variance that must be met in order for variances to be approved. And then in conclusion, basically states that, as I stated in my staff report, is that it's never a good model to follow, that where we are flipping one variance for another variance. However, as he states in the last paragraph, he will leave that up to the board to determine whether or not this is truly minimal relief or not of said variances. And then obviously it's written once again by Dale Resbeck. But I think we kind of summarized that when we were out on the site. I have nobody registered to speak. So,
No mail besides that?
nope. That's
Staff
it.
comments?
Okay. Everyone should have a copy of the staff report before you. Just in summary, the applicant is requesting a variance to exceed maintenance or repair of a non-conforming structure due to the water setbacks and to come within 28 feet of Bruce Creek with an open deck in an RS20 single-family zone within the shoreland area of the town of Mount Morris. The subject property has had a rather lengthy and extensive history with county zoning dating back to 1992. I provided a summary of a few of the requests that have come before us within the staff report. As we saw out on the property and as we've been reviewing as of late, the applicant is undergoing significant, or the home is undergoing significant repair and alteration. Half of the house has been tore down and will be rebuilt to within the existing building envelope. And then the remaining half that was there on site is undergoing significant alterations interior. The applicant is also seeking to remove a large deck, which was partially removed when we were on site, that 23 by 24 area or deck out near Bruce Creek. And now is asking that the allowance to build a small little deck, an 8 by 28 deck, that would be along the north side of the home or lake side of the house out near Johns Lake. The board visited the property at the recent on-sites on Monday, August 21st, and were generally supportive of the variance request. The board concurred with staff and felt that request results in a minimal relaxation of the codes, and that said request does make a bad situation better through removal of much larger non-compliant deck and patio. While the board will be making a formal recommendation on this request, staff is recommending approval of the variance to exceed maintenance and repair and to come within 28 foot of Bruce Creek, subject to the conditions that are listed in your report.
Thank you, Todd. Any questions of Todd? Hearing none. We'll go to our next one. Quigley Land Company LLC, Plainfield, Wisconsin, has made application for variance in accordance with sections 58-451 and 58-828B of the Waushara County zoning code to place a driveway 60 feet from an existing driveway, 300 foot spacing required on County Road KK for agricultural access in AG zone. Location: an approximate 32 acre of land known as part of SW 1/4 of the SW 1/4 to exclude lot 1 CSM 4614 section 16 P20N R08E Town of Plainfield County Road KK. The applicant please come forward. State your name, please, and then tell us, Mr. Conley, what you'd like to do a little bit.
I'm Corey Conley. I work for Weekly Farms, and we're trying to add an agricultural driveway to get on to County KK, make it a little safer for our truck drivers, try to help out with our equipment damage going through the wet holes of the field that we're trying to dig and process, and stay off some of the town roads to relieve some of the damage that we do to those. That's it. We're just trying to add a driveway.
When we were there was a problem at the other end of the field with that access going out for visibility, correct?
Yes, when you come up to the intersection at the stop sign, there's a bunch of trees right there on the lady's property, and it just makes it hard to see towards the north at the stop sign. And being, if we get this other driveway, it'd help see both ways.
And where the town road came in and the T road came in, you don't want to put a driveway there because then you've got access to the middle of the field and you start at the end of the field to harvest your crops.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I got a few questions for you. Has there been a recent survey,
Not that I'm aware of.
Do we know where the road right of way is?
Yes,
Do we have on our map how far the driveways are gonna be apart?
It's going to be 60 feet
Okay,
from center line to center line.
have we talked to the town, do you know?
I did. John Carlson was in favor of it. He was gonna try to send some correspondence or call somebody to tell them he didn't mind, but he was very busy, so hopefully he did, but that was his position.
When we were there, I asked about a culvert, but you said you're at the high point there, you think?
There's no drainage issue there.
Any other options? Not really.
No other options for that partial of the field. Nope.
Hardship is the wetland in the middle and the town road on the end with no visibility.
Yep.
Permits are at the county to get it there if you need it, then when do you think they'd start if it was approved?
Probably this next week, we would have it in and finished in a couple days.
Any questions?
Oh, pretty
Please
straightforward.
have a seat.
We did talk to the neighbor, Charlie, and he was not in opposition of it either. I believe I brought a letter to zoning.
Did you, and I
I dropped it off by Kyle or somebody.
Okay, I have not, and it could be in my in basket. I just haven't received it, but
It was a short one sentence that said, we don't care what they do. Go ahead. I mean,
Oh,
those
is
of us that know Charlie.
Yeah, just,
Oh, John's got a question.
yeah, to Todd, basically. So Corey asked me earlier, what's the maximum width for an ag entrance? Is it 57 feet?
I believe it's 52 feet. And that, I would check it at the code. He's gonna have to apply for a driveway permit with Brian, and then obviously with the county. And that, so,
That's extra above and beyond the application that we filed with you folks already.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a driveway permit application,
Okay.
and Jason will be in touch with you, so.
Does that happen rather quickly? Well, I'm
Oh, yeah.
getting ahead of the ball game here,
I
but
mean, it's kind of a time sensitive thing because we didn't
Yeah.
know that it took 30 days to get here and then another 30 days. I
No,
mean, we'll be digging by then and it kind of defeats the purpose. So
the permit application, basically what you're gonna do is just go out and cite it, and then he's gonna come out, he's gonna give you the standards and parameters. There's a little one-page application, and that's pretty much it. And he'll identify whether or not, and I can guarantee in that there's, a culvert's not gonna be required at that location, but,
okay, thanks, Todd.
yep.
thank you.
Oh, is it in there? Okay.
Correspondence?
Did you have a copy of that? I didn't have. No. So, thank you. Okay.
I believe that's why it's referenced.
We were first.
You went already.
They're done, 6
No.
o'clock.
You're all done.
Sorry.
Have a
That's
good
all
night.
right. There's a email that came across on today. It says, "To whom it may concern, I, Charles Brownlow of N6102 County Road KK, Plainfield, don't care if Weekly Farms puts in a driveway north of mine." Signed, Charles Brownlow. Don't care.
Quick and to the point.
Outside of that, I don't have any other registrants or applications. Okay. So, real quickly, just summary of the request. The applicant Corey Conley, owner of the property, is requesting a variance to place a temporary driveway 60 feet from an existing driveway when 300-foot spacing is required on County Road KK for agricultural access in the AG General Agricultural Zone in the town of Plainfield. County maintains very little information on this property due to the fact that it's, farmed cropped land. I would like to point out, as I did out there on the site, this field actually is comprised of two separate large parcels. The one which to the north, which fronts onto Anawa, and then the second, which obviously takes all of its access off of County Road KK. Per county code, each parcel would be permitted one access point. Obviously, with that out onto Anawa, we've got an issue with regard to the pivot location and what's good farming practice and getting in at the south end of the property. The board visited the property at the recent on-sites on Monday, August 21st, and were generally supportive of the variance request. Board recognized the agricultural need and felt that reducing the driveway spacing at this location should not be expected to negatively impact or harm adjacent land uses, given the fact that said drive will be used mostly during planting and harvest seasons, or, basically very periodically. Staff has reviewed this request and believes that a temporary agricultural drive placed 60 feet from an existing drive should not negatively impact the areas that most likely only be used during planting and harvest seasons. In terms of the future, I did place a condition in the approval, should it go that way, that should there be any change in land use on the property, is that a permanent drive would be required to be relocated and designed and installed in the required location. While the board will be rendering a formal decision on this request later in the evening, staff is recommending approval of the variance subject to the conditions listed in your report.
Thank you, Todd. Any questions of Todd?
Nothing.
I have none.
Rebuttal needed? Nothing? We're good? All right, we'll move to the next one. Somebody's got to help me with this last name on this one.
Sure.
John.
Sure.
Revocable Trust. Oshkosh, Wisconsin has made application for variance in accordance with sections 58-451 and 58-828B of the Washera County zoning code to place a temporary driveway 80-foot south of the existing driveway, 300-foot spacing required on County Road EE for agricultural access in the AG General Agricultural Zone. Location: approximate 56 acre of land known as the part of south 1/2, the southeast 1/4, and part of the northeast 1/4, southwest 1/4, lot 1, CSM 4904, and the northwest 1/4, south 1/4, northwest of CSM 4904, subject to easement B355P 306, section 20 T19N R12E, Town of Leon, County Road EE. Would the applicant please come forward? Evening, please state your name and tell us a little bit why we want to do this.
Yeah, it's John Tucksher.
Thank you.
And it's, so, I don't know, last year, we did some timber, we got a couple hundred acres there in MFL. And from time to time, we do timber harvesting. And so we needed to put in temporary, through the ditch line there, where the current temporary driveway is, but it's not our actual driveway. And that's, so, and then we, this last year, my wife and I, we're both retired now. We're building a home over there. And so, with all the construction equipment coming in, we improved it. We put in a culvert and crushed limestone, basically. So, it's about 82 yards to the south of our current driveway. And there's a hill to the north of our current driveway. And so, it's just, this new driveway, when you go on it, it's just like so much better as far as like safety and so forth. And so instead of, I was required, like, I got an extension, but we were required to take out the temporary driveway. And so I'm requesting to keep that temporary driveway, the permanent driveway, and for safety reasons, basically.
Okay, I got some of the same questions that I asked Corey. Recent survey?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the survey was back in 86 or something like that, sir.
You know where the road right away is?
Yeah. Mhm.
Have you talked to the town?
As far as the town, I don't know what you mean.
Chip? I don't know you want to do this?
I called, I don't remember, Kyle, that told me to call several people to give them a heads up, and I did that. He gave me 2 names. One was a town chairman, I believe, and he had no problem with it. Yeah. That was what you're asking?
There's a culvert there already. The other options, there really isn't one there, is there?
No.
Especially with logging trucks coming out of there and construction.
Right. Yeah.
To do that zigzag, I can see why you put in that.
Right, right.
Turnaround's not a problem. Hardship is the hill for safety. We looked at that.
Right.
And the axis is kind of a unique axis, isn't it? That zigzag.
Yep.
like that. Well, that's a problem. Permits are probably the same ones that Corey's got to get, right?
Correct. Yep, a permanent, and I've talked with Jason about it, so there, and I'll talk a little bit when we get into the correspondence section, but yes, permanent driveway application will have to be made.
Okay.
Questions?
Oh, no, I don't have any.
So, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite clear on the permitting. I have to do some more paperwork then, just.
Correct.
Okay.
You just need to contact County Highway Shop, and then what they'll do is, it's basically converting it from a temporary to a permanent.
Okay.
And Jason, and that, I guess, kind of get into that here.
I'll call Jason though.
Yes.
That's all I was asking.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay, have a seat.
Okay.
We'll continue. Correspondence?
so with regard to correspondence, I didn't receive anything in writing, and I'll explain a little bit. Had a conversation with both Jason and also with Brian Freimark. The county,
And they are.
I'm sorry, County Highway Shop. So, and County Highway Superintendent. So, they will not put a letter stating, which driveway is best and that, or what they recommend. They said that they will support the decision of this board. Jason did agree with me that locating the driveway, keeping the temporary drive in its present location is a safer situation. But they won't go on record, I guess, or in terms of, indicating which drive is safer for legal reasons. But the driveway, I did ask him what all would be required to make that permanent, and he said that that temporary drive was basically installed to permanent standards. So in terms of an application, it's going to be a very simple process, filling it out, the paperwork, and filing it. But that's all I have in terms of any correspondence, and haven't received anything from the town.
Okay, nobody else
Yep.
registered?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh.
Staff comments?
Okay, just real quickly, I know we talked a little bit about the existing configuration of the property. This subject parcel was actually part of a CSM that was created back in 2003. And on that CSM, because of the driveway separation standards, it did maintain a kind of a dogleg lot configuration, which ran adjacent to County Road EE, which resulted in a driveway with kind of a very circuitous
Yeah.
290-degree turns. However, I know I've been out at the property, and I know the board has also been out at the property. The existing, or I should say the required driveway that was originally installed there, literally puts that driveway just at the bottom side of a crest. Very unsafe situation. I literally, when I was pulling out the other day, nobody behind me, all of a sudden I pull out, look in my rearview mirror, and there's a guy right on my butt. So moving it further away from that hill definitely will make a bad situation better. Board did visit the property, as I kind of just referenced, and were very generally supportive of the variance request. They did observe the proximity of the crest of County Road E and felt that sliding a permanent driveway to its present temporary location improves safety for vehicles entering and exiting the property. The board also concurred with the applicant that the current circuitous driveway through the woods makes for nearly impossible truck movements. Obviously, staff, recognizes the concerns raised by the applicant, understands the need to move that driveway away from a very dangerous location. However, we also understand the board will be rendering a formal decision on this request later in the evening, but staff is recommending approval of the variance to convert a temporary driveway to a permanent driveway, subject to the conditions listed.
Thank you, Todd. Any questions of Todd? Nope. Hearing no questions, that'll conclude the public hearing. We'll go into our business meeting. Take the roll call, show everybody here. Accept the motion for approval of the agenda with an amendment for a.
Oh,
No.
that was the minutes. Well, we've got a request in here, which is in review and possible extensions of a variance application.
It's in there, so we don't read that. So
Okay.
just take a motion to approve the
I
minutes.
so move.
Second, just all in favor?
Yeah.
Motion passed. Approval of minutes from Monday,
I so move.
second. George, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. New business, action on our public hearings. The first one, Johns Lake Cottage, 102677 Johns Lake Road. Is there a motion on the?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Jeff makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second it.
Mr. Benz seconds. Any reasons just for the approval?
Yeah, an unnecessary.
Yeah.
An unnecessary hardship is present, and the current code requirements would be unnecessarily burdensome and prevent the applicant from using the property for permanent use because very few alternatives exist. The impacts of construction are being minimized by the mitigation. A minimal relaxation of code is being granted. A permitted use is not possible on this property without a variance approval. The circumstances are beyond the control of the applicant and are unique to the property, not the applicant. The lot predates zoning regulations. The construction matches the lot and available area. The hardship / unreasonably burdensome limitation of setbacks is due to unique physical features or limitations of the property and not the circumstances of the applicant as follows. Very little or no buildable area exists. The lot is very narrow. The setbacks overlap here and overall small lot size.
The variance will not harm the public interest or neighboring land uses and damage the intent of the zoning code because this would make a bad situation better. It is only a small portion of the deck that will protrude into a setback. The proposed will not harm the public, zoning code, or neighboring land uses if conditions are followed. A literal enforcement of the zoning code would be unnecessarily burdensome. The testimony in opposition has been considered, but no valid reasons could be found to deny. Therefore, the requested variance, if approved, the following conditions shall apply. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks must be complied with. All permits must be obtained, including land use and building. All code requirements must be complied with. It is the responsibility of the builder and landowner to protect the neighboring lots, lake, and road during construction. Standard erosion control plans must be in place prior to construction starting. Any future construction cannot occur without first obtaining a variance. The applicant will allow agents of Waushara County access to the property to ensure compliance with the terms of this decision, Waushara County codes, and state and federal laws. Landowner is responsible for determining lot lines and required setbacks.
Okay, I've heard the reasons for Justin's motion to approve, and we have a second. We'll take a roll call vote. John Sharp?
Yes.
Jess Urban, approved. John Benson?
Yes.
George Peterman?
Yes.
Myself votes yes, 5-0. Approval. Move to the second one. Weekly Land Company LLC for a driveway on KK. We have a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the variance application for the Weekly Land Company.
Second the motion.
John second, John Sharp motion, and the reasons, John, for your approval.
Okay. An unnecessary hardship is present, and the current code requirement would be unnecessarily burdensome and prevent the applicant from using the property for a permitted use because very few alternatives exist. Minimal relaxation of the code is being granted. The circumstances are beyond the control of the applicant and are unique to the property, not the applicant. And the construction matches the lot and available area. The hardship or unreasonably burdensome limitation of setbacks is due to unique physical features or limitations of the property and not the circumstances of the applicant as follows. Given the location of the center pivot, irrigation system, and orientation of the crops, the only sensible location available so as to minimize crop damage is at the far southwest corner of the property in the location being requested. The variance will not harm the public interest or neighboring land uses and damage the intent of the zoning code because visibility would be good at the driveway location. Traffic is lighter on County Road KK. Said drive is for farming use only and does not see significant traffic. The proposed use will not harm the public, zoning code, or neighboring land uses if conditions are followed. A literal enforcement of the zoning code would be unnecessarily burdensome, and there was no testimony either in favor or opposition. Oh, that's correct. I'm sorry. Can you correct my statement, Becky? So, excuse me, possible approval conditions. Therefore, the requested variance, if approved, the following conditions shall apply. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks must be complied with. All code requirements must be complied with. It is the responsibility of the builder and landowner to protect the neighboring lots and road during construction. Standard erosion control must be in place prior to construction starting. A driveway permit must be obtained from the town, county, state highway department, and the construction of the driveway must be in accordance with that permit and any other standards, including end slopes, minimum, maximum top widths, and other requirements. This drive is for agricultural farming use only. Any change in land use will require the closure of this driveway, and any future drive shall conform to all current zoning requirements regarding spacing, location, and design. The driveway shall meet all code specifications and shall provide suitable turnaround to prevent backing onto the road. The applicant will allow agents of Waushara County access to the property to ensure compliance with the terms of this decision, Waushara County codes, and state and federal laws. That's all.
For John's reasons. Take a roll call vote. Birch?
Yes.
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 John Benz?
Yes.
John Sure?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 5-0. Pass. Happy driveway building. Okay. We'll take the third one. Wes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the application as presented.
We have a motion to approve
I
the
second.
one on double E. And the
Yep.
second is by Jess.
Yes.
On your reasons.
An unnecessary hardship is present. The current code requirements would be unnecessarily burdensome and prevent the applicant from using the property for permitted use because very few alternatives exist. A minimal relaxation of the code is being granted. The circumstances are beyond the control of the applicant and are unique to the property, not the applicant. And the driveway construction matches the lot and available area. The hardship, burdensome limitation of setbacks is due to unique physical features or limitations of the property and not the circumstances of the applicant as follows. The existing drive is located within very close proximity to the crest of the hill on the highway, limiting site distances. And the variance will not harm the public interest or neighboring land uses or damage the intent of the zoning code because visibility would be much better at this driveway location. Speeds are significantly higher on this particular stretch of the roadway. The proposed use will not harm the public, the zoning code, or neighboring land uses if our conditions are followed. And a literal enforcement of the zoning code would be unnecessarily burdensome. And therefore, the requested variance, if approved, the following conditions shall apply. The development must be in substantial compliance with the site plan and testimony provided at the public hearing. All other required setbacks must be complied with. All code requirements must be complied with. It's the responsibility of the builder and the landowner to protect the neighboring lots and road during construction. Standard erosion control must be in place prior to construction starting. A driveway permit must be obtained from the county highway department, and the construction of the permanent driveway must be in accordance with the permit and any other standards, including end slopes, minimum and maximum top widths, and other requirements. The driveway shall meet all code specifications and shall provide suitable turnaround to prevent backing onto the road. The applicant will allow agents of Waushara County access to the property to ensure compliance with the terms of this decision, Waushara County codes, and state and federal laws.
Go back to C number 1. Can we add the word visibility would be better and safer at this
Sure.
driveway location?
Sure.
Because I don't think, we talked about the safety of the hill and we didn't put that in there.
Better and safer
Yeah, good suggestion.
at this driveway location.
Okay. You've heard the reasons for the approval of the motion. We'll take a roll call vote. Jess?
Yes.
John Benz?
Yes.
John Sure?
Yes.
George Peterman?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5-0. I wish you happy driveway building, but you already got that.
Just get your permits.
Good luck on building your house. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next thing. Extensions. We have an extension. today.
Okay, yep. So if you recall back a couple years ago, we had reviewed and approved a variance application for Scott Egan. He was going to tear down an old home right there across in Mount Morris.
And the dam.
Yep, right there at the dam. Very, very small little building pad location. Scott, I know, ran into some, well, I guess, started crunching numbers and that and just saw that it just wasn't feasible for him to do it. So he has since sold that property. The new owner has now approached us and is asking for an extension of the variance request. Normally, I don't bring these types of things back. However, the home is actually smaller in footprint than what Scott Egan had proposed. The applicant has agreed to comply with every single condition, and I want to make that for the record. He will comply with each and every condition that was from the original notice of decision. And with that, I said I would bring this before you all for a possible extension of the variance.
When we discussed this, I don't think George was there, and we talked about how the variance follows the property. It doesn't go with
Correct.
Scott Egan.
Correct. The variance, once approved, goes with. However, the variance expires after 1 year unless, an extension is requested. Scott did get an extension on the original variance. That has since expired. But, what this person is now doing is seeking to expend that so that he can build. I've already looked at his building plans, of which he's ready literally to start submitting and get building on that property.
Really?
How long is the extension this time?
It would be, the extension here would now expire of 8/21 of 2024.
Motion to approve. Second. Second.
John Venn second. Jess made the motion to approve. John Venn second. We'll take a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay,
Easy
if
peasy.
you could. If you want to just check there also, action requested was just approved. Just put an X near the approves. Yep. Yep. That's it.
Todd, just out of curiosity, is the new structure in the same footprint as the old one?
It's actually going to be less in terms of the footprint. It's a very small, and that my concern is that it was going to be a mini home. However, in that it's got 2 floors. So he's actually going to build it kind of partially in the property and partially out. So it's a raised lower level, raised basement. But square footage wise, it's going to be about 1,400 square feet.
Should be a nice spot for it.
Yep, it'll fit the lot. I mean, it's a very, very small, very tight lot. So
Okay, go on this, letter C, any requests for minor changes?
nope,
Map? Anything on maps?
nope.
Next month's public hearing applications.
So we have 2, I believe 2. We've got a gentleman is going to be before P and Z for a zone change on a property up in Tustin. And so he's going to be asking for a zone change. And because of that, he wants to put a structure on there that's going to need a variance too, as everything right there is right up near the roadway. He's going to ask for a setback variance. Given the zone change, the lot width is also going to need a variance to fit into the RM zoning. So it's RM all basically around there. So it's unfortunate. I talked to the town, and we'll talk about that at the public hearing, but I have talked with the town about it. They've been holding out for possibly somebody to come back in and rebuild a bar or put a commercial building on that corner, and just nothing has come forward.
So that's not on the water. It's.
No, this is across the street. It's right by the volunteer fire station.
Oh, okay.
There you
Yep.
go.
So, and then I believe we have,
There's another variance, but I can't remember what it's for.
Yeah, I
think it's
can't.
Something with the boathouse.
okay,
It's
We'll
Kingston.
be here in September, the Lord willing.
Yep.
Creek don't rise.
We got the financial report, anything else?
nope.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, third, Peter, and all in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, gentlemen.
And gentlemen, if I could did you give vouchers in to Becky? Did you get? Okay. Please.
You want to turn your phone?
Yes.
Yes, I want folders.
Take mine, all right.